Well, hello everyone. I am Dale Delbridge, Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. It is Friday, February the 11th, 2022, and this is your status chat. Now, we have our numbers as we do every week. We'll talk to them just a little bit, but first I got to say we have the almost slipped up. We have the football game, but I can't use the word. Well, I almost used the word. Can't use that word because it's copyrighted. So let's just call it the chicken wings and tacos sitting around the TV family day on Sunday, which would be the 13th of February. And I think it's like 5:30, something like that. You may check the time, make sure it's not Central or Eastern time. But anyway, the game's coming up this weekend. Have a safe and temperate football game. Now, we'll get to our numbers right after the middle segment. Well, hello everyone. It is Friday the 11th of February 2022, and we covered a number of these things. If you've been watching the last several episodes of the Status Chat, we have covered a number of things. I think it was last week we went over the CPI, what the CPI was, and now we're going to look at what's in the news today, because unless you've been living under a rock or haven't been watching my shows, you may not realize that inflation came in January significantly higher than was anticipated. Now, personally, if I had to bet a nickel one way or the other, I would bet we're going to see even more inflation coming up through February and March. We've had, as you know, if you watched the show, you know that we've had the Fed suggest that they're going to start tapering. They're going to start raising interest rates come the spring. So you might want to get that home ready for listing now so that you're ready to capture that before the rates jump. And if you're looking to buy, well, the same thing. If the rates go up along with everything else, and I've covered this before, the simple truth is, unless you live in a vacuum, you have to buy food and fuel and all these other wonderful things that we have to live with, and the more they cost in proportion takes away from your disposable or discretionary income, of which housing is sort of a necessity, but you get the idea. The more money you spend on them, the less you have to buy a house with. Then you compound that with rising interest rates. Even if you go with a 30-year loan, they still jump up quite a bit. Now, if you want to go to my website, calldale2sell.com, and use that mortgage calculator and just see what a percentage point or half a percentage point, 50 basis points are going to cost you if you wait, then go ahead and do so. This is a tool ready for you. But let's look at some of these headlines here. Top stories. News about consumer price index jumped 7.5%. The fastest rise since 1982. Here we got it again repeated. CNBC, you can trust them, I suppose. 77.5% on an annual basis. Economists, you want to go see what they're saying about it. Of course, I think we've got one down here that says, here it is, it's worse than economists had forecast. Well, it's pretty easy for me to see because I know how much money we printed. Again, look back at some of those past status chat. We covered the money supply, the M1 money supply. We also have a repeat over here, fastest since 1982. That is 40 years. That is 40 years, the highest inflation jump we've had in 40 years. So there we have it. If you want to look, let's see, we might be able to pull the government's website up real quick and say CPI. Let's do, is it BLS? We'll just do a .gov. Here we are, CPI home. Yeah, it is Bureau of Labor Statistics. And this is just a rehash real quick, save you some time. You'll notice down here, all items it says is 7.5%. And it says food is 7%. I don't believe that. My food budget has gone through the roof. I don't know about yours. I don't know where they get that number from, but I'm not sure I agree with that. And then energy is the biggest point. Again, 27%. That may be right, maybe a little bit low around Tennessee. We have a pretty good fuel tax on, but I think I was paying like $2, $2.25 or so for a long period of time. Last time I filled up was $3.39, $3.49, something like that. So that would be more than 27%. And fuel goes into everything. everything from the heaters and keeping the stores going and driving the trucks here and there. So here we go. All items other than fuel, it says, went up 6%. So sometimes we'll see some of these happy sales type people, these real estateries, that pointed out that this week, I think it was Zillow increased their home estimation on the increase in pricing. Redfin, I think it's still fairly low. They're still trending down a little bit in numbers of volume, but the price they're estimating changed a little bit. But here's the thing, it's not all good news. If you own a home, that's fine, but unless you're going to use that as your forever home, the take me home, you're probably going to have to buy another one. So you may get some equity out of that. You roll into your next home, and that's good, but everything's going up. And if you have a home that you want to list with me, Dale Delbert, call Dale to sell, calldale2sell.com. You can, and it's a good time to do it before the spring interest rate increases. And as the inflation goes up, it will make your existing home a better alternative for a new construction home, simply because if you get a chance to buy a brand new one or a previously loved home, the more expensive it takes to build a new one, the more that previously loved home comes up in its value. That's just basic economics there. The other thing is we seem to be having a little bit trend toward the fewer housing starts, and that's going to still work on even tighter demand. And remember, we still have the big blue wave. We still have the great migration of people selling their homes outside of Tennessee in high tax states and leaving with a wad of cash, coming to Tennessee and paying cash money down on a home. So sometimes they even have enough money to buy a lake home or a piece of property. So nationally, I think it was in the previous to the penultimate show, I think we discussed that NAR had a statistic said that they were 23% of all transactions nationwide were cash. Well, in some of these premium states or premier real estate states and cities, they may be mostly financed. But when you can walk away from that location to, say, Tennessee, Texas, or Florida and bring cash with you, you might find that Tennessee is above 23%. So you still might be having competition with 1 in 4 or maybe greater than 1 in 4 homes coming in with a cash offer. So you want to get with a professional. You want to get with somebody who knows the ins and outs of this, somebody who is with the largest brokerage in Middle Tennessee. I think the numbers where I can get that statistic for you if you want the exact dollar, but I think we did $4.6 billion in Middle Tennessee last year. So anyway, that's enough for the show. Let's wrap this puppy up. Hello, I'm Dale Delbert of Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. If you are currently unrepresented and would like to know how to compare up to 3 properties side by side and room by room, then go over to my new YouTube channel, Call Dale to Sell. That's 1 L in Dale, no spaces. Watch the demo on Real Scout, and then call me and we'll set up your exclusive ad-free account today. Now that we've got the middle segment done, what do you say we look at the numbers? Now last week of 2/4/22, we had 7786 opportunities. That includes your coming soons, and that was decreased over the previous period. 3905 also decreased over the previous period for your under contract still showing. That is those that are spoken for, but they're still showing because it might fall through or something. That ratio last week was 50% at the integer level. This week we have 7701 in the opportunities, which is down over the previous period, and 4153 in the under contract still showing, which is up over the previous period. And I believe this is the first time I've seen it. There is a 54% ratio at the integer level between those two numbers. In other words, last week we had half as many under contract still showing as we had opportunities. This week we have more than half are under contract still showing, and that ratio jumped by 4 percentage points at the integer level. So that's it for today. I want to thank you for watching, and as always, you need to list your house, and you want to list your house, list it with Delbridge. Call Dell to sell, and have a good weekend. I hope your favorite team, if they're playing, wins, and your next favorite team, whoever is in that bowl game Sunday, will make you happy. Have a great day.